I was going over some running back data to make a video over the value of running backs to make some buys for you guys for Dynasty Fantasy Football, and I came over something interesting that I want to share with you guys, and it involves Kyren Williams of all players, and his value is at a weird spot. A lot of people are drafting him higher than expected. Not super high. It's in a spot where it's where a lot of slapstick running backs are at, and you're just throwing them against the wall. So it's not a huge deal in a grand scheme of things. But overall, it's kind of surprising. But let's take a look. I want to show it with you guys. That way you get a good feel of it. But let's look at the Dynasty ADP for December here. And he's down here at 123 overall. Let me scoot that up there so you can see it. Kyren Williams, RB41 in ADP, 124 overall, and he's being usurped by Cam Akers right now, and it hasn't been looking good lately. The specs wasn't looking good coming out of the combine. We got some data on him now, and I'm just really thinking about the speculation here. He got drafted kind of high in one draft at 107, and then 120 in another, and 127, and he fell to 142, which probably should be his expected price range, around the 140 area, 150, 160 maybe even. He's a 5th round pick with suboptimal athleticism. But right here, RB41, 124 overall. And some of the guys he's over, they're not gangbusters. You're not going to get gangbuster players here, studs. But you got like a 2nd round wide receiver in Wan'Dale Robinson, who flashed a tiny bit. DJ Chark, kind of a journeyman, but an air yards guy. You got some decent wide receivers down here. Not great guys. Just some plays here. Zay Jones had a great season this year. Elijah Mitchell down here. We got some other guys down here as well. Jarrett McKinnon's down there somewhere. I saw that recently. There's some other players that are just falling a little bit. Some due to age. Some due to historic factors. But nonetheless, I was expecting Kyren Williams to be lower on this list. I expect him to be like the 150 area or something. But this just jumped out at me. Looking at him compared to all the running backs, let's just look at that real quick. Where was he? Like RB 46. He is right here. RB 41 next to Alexander Madison, next to Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Clyde Edwards-Helaire's dynasty stock is done. It's over unless somehow he makes a comeback. Damon Harris, Cam Akers a few spots ahead of him. Tyler Algier had a decent rookie season, got some production, good enough for a late round guy. Jaylen Warren had a little bit of life there. Zonovan Knight had some life there. This is in December. This is when Zonovan Knight was having his run a little bit. Elijah Mitchell, James Robinson, Zamir White. A lot of these guys are guys to speculate on going into 2023 for different reasons. And the fact that Kyren Williams, after we saw what we saw in the last few weeks, sitting up here at RB41 is very interesting. Going over here, looking at the timeline from his ADP, you can see that his peak value, when you got put on IR in August or right before the season started, so you want to look at September here after they did drafts, it didn't climb after what that Schefter tweet came out saying that he was going to have a large role in the offense, and it dipped down in October because he was on IR. We weren't seeing anything on him, and then this November it went back up because he's finally on the field. In December, it totally kept increasing, even though we haven't received hardly any results. The one thing I was talking about in the videos is that he was running routes, and there was some targets going his way, but that fizzled out. And the thing in redraft that was trendy about him is that he was just on IR, a rookie who was talked about on a Schefter tweet that could have some potential, and now we saw it, and it didn't look good. The one thing I think people are speculating on is Cam Akers is probably out. Hendo is gone. Where else are we going to go here, though? Where else are we going to do? This is a stacked running back class we got coming in. We have a good running back free agency class. This could change on his head real quick. I would not be speculating on that. Looking at his portfolio here, coming from the draft, coming from the combine. Remember, the 4.645 40-yard dash at 194 pounds. 83rd percentile, 9th percentile size adjusted speed score, 83 speed score, burst score, sucks, agility score, 50th percentile, and then the college target share just at 12.5%. In a video I mentioned, at best, what you're hoping for is a theoretic type career Again, a Notre Dame player, but again, suboptimal athlete here who can catch the ball in the backfield. But looking at his target share numbers, Theoretic, 16.7%. Theoretic was like that money ball play from back in the day, and you're just hoping for that. You're not betting on that. And that's something you don't want to bet on any prospect to get, but those are outcomes in the range of things that could happen. And now, looking at his dynasty value over at Keep Trade Cut, not just at DOF on ADP, because that's like, 5-10 drafts that could be speculated that could have went a certain way that caused the averages. But here, 6-month rolling average here, we're seeing an increase during the December data. He's trending down a little bit recently, but it's not flooring either. He's just hovering here around the RB49, RB50 range in dynasty value and positional rank. So there is a little bit of drop, but look at the guy's value adjusted for running backs here. He's around the same area. Zonovan Knight probably should be ahead of it, even with Breece Hall coming back. Breece Hall's coming back from the injury. Knight could get some ancillary work here and there. I mean, he proved it a little bit. I mean, he proved that he could ball. Kyren Williams hasn't proved that yet at the NFL level. Chuba Hubbard's done some stuff a little bit. And it's just weird that we see him elevated at that high a level in his dynasty value, dynasty stock. Grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter because it's so low. Like, RB49 isn't really shit. It's not valuable at all. It's something that when you're comparing RB49, RB35, RB50, RB60, there really isn't much difference. But the fact that he's still there after being a 5th-round pick, failed the combine, failed his initial debut really this season during his rookie year. We got a stacked running back class coming in. We have a good running back free agency class. A lot of things can happen like that. And Cam Akers is getting run over him. Cam Akers, they were acting like they wanted him out of town a few weeks ago. Now he's winning people's money in the fantasy playoffs. This is all very interesting here, but Kyren Williams' stock is a little higher than I expected. I didn't expect to do this video. I was really researching just to study up on some running backs, find you some running backs, look up their values, tell you whether you should buy or sell them, or just give you information on their market value. And then I came across this. I was like, holy shit, people are still in. And I did a lot of videos on him, but a lot of people was watching it. And I guess that's why. A lot of people are interested in Kyren Williams. I don't know if it's because he's from Notre Dame or because they liked him as a prospect. But this guy's got a fan base, and which tells me that there's some weird value with him on the market. I don't know what this means for, like, Dynasty, but if you're in one of those websites where you can play the stock market on the players, you may want to get some cheap shares just in case he does something, because people might buy into him really quick and that price might jump. I'm talking about one of those sites where you can just buy him at like $1 or something like that, and he gets a good run next year or something, or a good game or two, and the stock price jumps up. You could probably sell them off, like Mojo, that website. That I was trying to think about that, but it didn't come to my head. But that is something I'd be interested in, just to get a couple cheap shares that way. Dynasty-wise, I think flipping them, you might want to think about that, especially if you can get some stock in the 2023 draft class, maybe in the 3rd round or so, 4th round. It's hard to gauge this because this is kind of jumping the shark a tiny bit. Grand scheme of things, RB41 and ADP isn't that big a deal. There's really not much difference between RB41 and RB80, RB60. Really, you're just in the minutia here. You're in the shit with these running backs. But still, I was expecting him to be a little bit lower. I was expecting some of the older guys to be a little bit higher. Those guys that have been producing. But that just didn't happen. That just hasn't been the way of things. Some older backs who have been producing well later in the season is below him. They're all over the place, but still can get you fantasy points, help you out on the long term. Even Williams here may not even help you in the long term at all, even though he's a younger running back. Still a little bit older for a rookie, but he's still a younger running back that you can play with some tread left on the tires. But let me know in the comments below what you think about Kyren Williams for the long term. I know he's got a lot of fans here in Dynasty Fantasy Football and fantasy in general, but I want to hear about it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. It's only going to help you going forward with Dynasty, redraft, rookie drafts, and everything else. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.